I need you to stop what you are doing right now. Not because something is wrong, because something is right, and you almost missed it. There is a person listening to this message today who has been carrying a wound they have not allowed themselves to name out loud. They have told themselves they are fine. They have said the right things in public. They have smiled when they were supposed to smile. But in the quiet, in the moments between sleep and waking, in the car alone, in the pause before they check their phone, there is a place in their chest that still aches. Because someone they loved left, or someone they trusted walked away, or a relationship they believed in simply dissolved, without warning, without a real goodbye, without a reason that made any sense. And you have spent months, maybe longer, trying to make sense of it. You have asked God why. You have asked yourself what you did wrong. You have replayed the conversations, searched for the moment things changed, tried to identify what you could have done differently. And sometimes, in the darkest part of that searching, you have wondered if maybe you are just someone who gets left, someone who gets overlooked, someone who was never quite enough to make people stay. I need you to hear this before we go any further. That voice is not the truth. That voice is not mine. And today, I am going to show you something that will change the way you see every person who has ever walked out of your life. Because what you interpreted as abandonment was not abandonment at all. What felt like being left behind was actually being repositioned. And the space those people created when they left, that space was not left empty. I was already filling it with something you could not have received if they had stayed. This message did not find you by accident. Nothing about your life is an accident in my hands. Before we go any further, I need something from you. If this message is already speaking to something real in your chest, if you already feel this is for you, type the words, "My promise is still alive" in the comments right now. Not because it is a ritual, because it is a declaration. And sometimes a declaration spoken out loud in faith is exactly what opens the door I have been waiting to open for you. While you are there, subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell so that every time I have a word for you, you do not miss it. You are here for a reason. Stay close. Now, let us talk about what is really happening. There is a version of your story that the enemy has been narrating for you. And that version goes something like this. People leave because you are not enough. People leave because something about you pushes them away. The ones who mattered most were just the first in a long line of losses, and the pattern will continue. You will build something and it will be taken. You will love someone and they will go. You will try again and the same thing will happen. That is the enemy's version of your story, and it is a lie. Here is mine. I did not allow those people to leave because you failed. I allowed them to leave because they were never assigned to your next chapter. Some of them were only meant to carry you through a specific season. And when that season ended, holding on to them would have meant refusing to enter what I had for you next. Some of them had walked as far in their own faith and their own growth as they were willing to walk. And where you are going required someone who was still moving. And some of them, I have to say this plainly, were actually slowing you down, not because they were evil, but because the weight of that relationship was costing you something you did not realize you were paying. I was not punishing you when I removed them. I was protecting you. As it is written, and we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28. That word "all things" does not exclude the losses. It does not skip over the relationships that ended. It means that even the people who walked away, even that has been woven into something God is using for your good. The hidden season was not punishment. It was protection. I want to show you something from a woman named Naomi. You may know her story, but I want you to hear it differently today. Naomi lost her husband. Then she lost both of her sons. She was left in a foreign land with 2 daughters-in-law, no provision, no path forward, and a grief so complete that she eventually told people to stop calling her by her name. She said, "Call me Mara," which means bitter, because she felt that was all she was, a woman emptied by loss. One of her daughters-in-law, Orpah, kissed her goodbye and returned to her own people, and no one blamed her. Leaving made sense. Staying made no sense at all. But the other one, Ruth, refused to go. And what Ruth said in that moment is one of the most powerful declarations of covenant loyalty in all of Scripture. As it is written, "Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God." Ruth 1:16. Do you see what happened? Naomi, in the middle of her losses, in the middle of her emptiness, in the moment when it looked like everyone was leaving, kept one. And that one turned out to be the one who carried the next chapter of her entire destiny. Boaz, the kinsman redeemer, the restoration, the lineage that would eventually lead to David, and beyond David to the very throne of heaven. So it is with you. Not everyone who left was your Orpah. Some of them were. Some of them walked away because they could not go where you are going. But the one who remained, the friendships, the relationships, the connections still standing around you, those are your Ruths. And the thing that is coming, the thing I am bringing into your life through the space that was created, that is your Boaz. That is your restoration. That is the thing that will make you stop looking back at what left and start standing in awe of what arrived. What you call loss, I call room. Something has been targeting your peace. Something has been rewriting your story in the night, taking real grief and real loss and turning it into a belief system that tells you the best is behind you. That the people who left took something you can never get back. That the empty places in your life are a verdict on your value. I want you to hear this right now. Those people who left were sent, not by me to destroy you, but their leaving was allowed by me to make room, and the room they left, I have already been filling it with what I'm bringing. Something has been targeting your peace. Something has been rewriting your story in the night, taking real grief and real loss and turning it into a belief system that tells you the best is behind you. That the people who left took something you can never get back. That the empty places in your life are a verdict on your value. Before I show you the next part of what God is saying, I want to pause and give you something practical. Because some of you are in a season where you are not just grieving people. You are grieving the version of your future you thought those people were part of. And that kind of grief is disorienting. It makes it hard to know what to do next, how to pray, how to posture yourself for what is coming. You have had loss after loss, and you are still standing, which means God has not finished with you. But I need you to hear this. What the enemy meant to destroy you with, God has already written into your reversal. The turn of the chosen will show you exactly how God uses 7 days, precisely 7, to reverse everything that was built against you, return what was taken, and reposition you for what comes next. The link is pinned in the first comment. Comment, "My turn is now," because that declaration is not wishful thinking. It is a prophecy over your life. Now, I want to take you deeper, because there is something most people never understand about the seasons when people leave. And here is what most people never understand about this. When someone walks out of your life, especially someone you loved, someone you built something with, someone you never imagined would go, the human instinct is to try to get them back, to repair what broke, to close the gap they left. And that instinct comes from love, so I do not condemn it. But sometimes, and this is what I need you to hear, trying to close that gap is actually resistance to what I am doing. The gap is the gate. The empty space is not a wound to be stitched shut. It is an opening I have been trying to walk through. And sometimes, the more you try to fill that space with what used to be there, the longer you delay what is trying to arrive. But listen, this is the part that changes everything. Remember Joseph, my beloved, the boy who had a dream from me about his future, a dream so clear, so specific, that he could not stop speaking of it. And yet the very people who should have celebrated that dream, his own brothers, were the ones who ripped him away from everything he knew and sold him into the hands of strangers. He went from being his father's beloved to being someone's property in a single afternoon. He went from the coat of many colors to the prison cell. He went from the promise to the pit, and in that pit there was no vision, there was no voice, there was only silence. As it is written, "And Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, the place where the king's prisoners were confined, and he was there in prison." Genesis 39:20. That is not the verse of a man moving toward his destiny. That looks, by every human measure, like a man being abandoned by God. Do you see? The pit was not the end of the promise. The pit was the path to the palace. So it is with you. The people who removed themselves from your life, the ones who left, the ones who betrayed you, the ones who simply faded, may have done it for reasons that had nothing to do with your worth and everything to do with your assignment. Because where you are going, they could not follow. And the only way to get you there was to let the familiar fall away, so that you would finally have to reach for what is unfamiliar. And find out that the unfamiliar is where I was waiting. What you call delay, I call preparation. Stay with me, because what I am about to say connects all of it. Joseph sat in that prison for years, not days, years. And during those years, he kept dreaming, he kept interpreting, he kept showing up with his gift even when the circumstances gave him no reason to believe the gift was going anywhere. And then, in a single morning, everything changed. Pharaoh had a dream. No one could interpret it. And suddenly the cupbearer remembered the young Hebrew man who had spoken truth in the dark. And Joseph went from the prison to the palace in one day, not because God finally remembered him. God never forgot him, not for one single moment in that pit, in that prison, in those long and silent years, but because the moment had finally come when the room was ready, when the position that had always had his name on it was finally vacant, when the people and the circumstances that needed to be in place for Joseph's destiny to land were finally aligned, and all of it required the brothers, the pit, the prison, the silence, the years. As it is written, "As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to bring it about that many people should be kept alive as they are today." Genesis 50:20. "I did not bring you this far to abandon you now. The people who left you were not your punishment, they were your preparation. And what I am bringing now, what I have been building in the space their absence created, is something that would not have fit if they had stayed. It is something that requires a version of you that only this season could have produced. A version of you that is quieter but not weaker. A version of you that is more discerning, more grounded, more certain of who you are in me. Because the fire of this season did not consume you, it refined you. And what is refined is ready to receive what raw material cannot hold. Before we continue, I want to take a moment to speak from my heart. Every message I bring here goes through hours of prayer, searching, and preparation. I take this seriously because I know that some of you are holding onto your faith by a thread, and this message may be the one God is using to keep you holding on. If this ministry has been a source of strength for you, there is a link pinned in the first comment called "Buy Me a Coffee." It is completely voluntary. Give only what God places on your heart. But if He does move you to give, know that your offering reaches the next person who will find this video in their darkest moment and discover God has not forgotten them. Thank you. Let us keep going. And for you, The one who is still in the place of grief, still trying to make sense of who stayed and who left, still not fully sure what I am building. I want to give you something to hold on to while you wait. You have been faithful, you have prayed, you have believed, and yet the same ceiling, the same walls, the same feeling that everyone around you is moving forward while you stay exactly where you were last year. That is not a lack of faith. That is a spiritual blockage, and there is a specific path out of it. The 7 steps of the Chosen walks you through exactly how to shield your life, unlock what has been held back, and defeat the enemy that has been standing between you and what God promised. In 21 days. The link is pinned in the first comment. Comment, "I break through now," and begin. Now I want to show you yourself. I want you to close your eyes for a moment if you are in a place where you safely can. I want you to think about the version of yourself from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago. I want you to think about what that person believed would happen by now. The relationships they expected to still have, the people they thought would be standing beside them, the life they had mapped out in their mind. And then I want you to look at where you actually are. I know what you see when you do that. You see the gap. You see the distance between the life you imagined and the life you are living. You see the faces of the people who are no longer there. You see the plans that did not come together the way you hoped. And if the enemy gets to narrate that comparison, it becomes evidence of your failure, evidence that you missed something, lost something, were not enough to keep something. But I am narrating it today. And when I look at the distance between who you were and who you are now, I do not see failure. I see formation. I see a person who has been through the fire of relational loss and is still standing. I see a person who prayed in the dark when there was no evidence that the dawn was coming. I see a person who chose faith when logic offered something easier. I see a person who has been tested in the places where most people break and did not break. I see a person who is not who they were before those people left, because that person, the one you are now, is the one I have been preparing this whole time. Not the version of you that needed those relationships to define you, the version of you that knows who you are without them. And that version, my beloved, that version is ready for what I am bringing. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are mine. The room is almost ready. The thing I have been building in the space that was created by every departure, every goodbye, every silent phone, every empty seat, it is almost finished. And when it arrives, you will not spend a single day wishing that the people who left had stayed, because what is coming carries the weight of everything I have been keeping for you. The relationships that are coming will not leave you questioning your worth. The connections that are arriving carry covenant, not convenience. The doors that are about to open were built for the specific shape of who you are now, not who you were before the refining fire. What you call loss, I call room. What you call abandoned, I call repositioned. What you call the worst season of your life, I call the corridor to the greatest chapter of your life. This is not wishful thinking. This is the pattern of my nature. Your home has been shaken. Your life has been hit from multiple directions at once. And you have been carrying this alone, not sure if anything you do will actually turn the tide. The turn of the chosen shows you how God uses exactly 7 days to reverse what was built against you. And the chosen one's family protection manual gives you the prayers to shield your home while that reversal is happening. Get both. Both links are pinned in the first comment. You are not too far gone. You are exactly where a reversal begins. Now let me bring this home. I began this message by telling you that someone left, and that the leaving hurt in ways that language does not fully capture. And everything I have said since then has been building toward this one truth, a truth I need you to carry out of this message and into every quiet moment that comes after. The people who left were not the story. They were the chapter before the story. They were the setup. They were the part of the narrative that makes what is coming make sense. Every Joseph needs the pit before the palace. Every Naomi needs the years of loss before the Ruth who stays. Every chosen person needs a season of being stripped of the familiar before they can hold the weight of what I have been preparing. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not someone who gets left. You are someone who has been made ready, and the making ready was not comfortable. It was not quick. It did not look the way you thought a blessing was supposed to look. But it was mine. Every day of it was mine. Every quiet morning when you prayed and heard nothing, I heard everything. Every night you went to sleep uncertain, I was already arranging what you could not see. Every moment you wondered if I had forgotten you, I was writing your next chapter. I have never let you go. Not once, not even in the silence. And what I am bringing now, what is already in motion toward you as you hear these words, is bigger than what left, deeper than what you lost, more lasting than what was taken, because what I give with purpose. And the purpose I have for your life has not changed because of who walked away. If anything, their walking away removed the last obstacle between you and the fullness of what I always had planned. The corridor is almost over. The door is almost open. And when it opens, you will understand everything. Every night of crying that felt pointless, every prayer that felt unanswered, every friend who vanished, every relationship that dissolved, every goodbye that left you standing alone in a silence you did not know how to fill. You will understand it all. And in that moment of understanding, you will not feel grief. You will feel gratitude, because you will finally see what I saw all along. That every single thing I allowed to leave was making room for everything I was about to bring. You are chosen, and chosen people do not walk this path alone. I want to give you something for the road ahead, because the season of understanding, the season of receiving, the season of walking through the door I have been opening, that season requires tools. It requires discernment, protection, and spiritual clarity that does not come from simply wanting it. It comes from knowing how to access it. The resources pinned in the first comment were not placed there randomly. They were placed there for the person who just finished hearing this message. For the person who now understands that a reversal is in motion. For the person who is ready to step into the next chapter but wants to know exactly how to walk forward without losing ground. The turn of the chosen and the 7 steps of the chosen, both are in the first comment. Click, receive, open, and begin. Comment: right now, my promise is still alive. That is not just a phrase. That is a declaration of faith over everything you have been waiting for. It is your voice agreeing with mine. And while you are there, subscribe to this channel, turn on the notification bell, and share this message with the person in your life who is sitting in the silence right now. The one who has not said out loud how much it hurts to feel left. The one who is still trying to make sense of who went and who stayed. You may be the instrument I use to reach them. You may be the Ruth I send to the person who has decided to call themselves Mara. You were never waiting for God to find you. He found you before you were born, and He has not taken His eyes off of you, not once, not for a single moment, not even in the darkest night you thought He did. The people who left made room, and what is coming, my beloved, what is coming, is worth every day of the wait.